Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and we have a special guest with us today, Mysterious Benefactor. How are you doing, my friend?
I am top notch. Thanks for asking.
That is good. We are doing a special show here Friday morning. Definitely had Mysterious Benefactor in town, so we wanted to take advantage of this. Without going too much into your background, Mysterious Benefactor, you do come from the corporate world.
Yes, I spent all my career in, largely New York City, London, Bermuda, Hong Kong. Yes,
all over the place.
Yeah.
And to the people out there that are going to be watching this, what would you say is one of the most important things? I can think of two of them, but I'll let you answer for your success overall. And then how do we tie it into reselling?
First and foremost, I think the key part of my job is planning.
Okay.
If you don't spend, if I would say minimum, we spend months planning for the next year. If that's crazy, it sounds crazy, but it's true because you have to plan for everything: ups, downs, market changes. If we're not prepared, we're probably going to end up on the wrong end of that stick. So We have to be prepared. And probably the other thing is we only have a fixed amount of capital to allocate.
Okay.
So
interesting. I had not thought you were going to go either of those two. So go ahead.
Oh, no. And so I have to be ready for knowing where I'm going to. I'm going to take and put my money on the best bets, those with the highest probability of profitability, if you want to go there.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going to allocate my money because I have to compete within my own group.
Right.
Capital. So I'm actually going against executives from other divisions that want money to expand theirs. So unless I could justify where I sit, they're not going to give me that money. So
you can click on that over. You can click on that there. So good morning, Jeff. How are you doing? Great to have you in today. I hate to tell you you're wrong, but you're wrong.
All right.
You're absolutely wrong with what you said there. No, actually, you went a whole different direction, and good. That's very good. My thought would be the two most important things that you were going to say was, number one, you've done well enough in your career. And one of the reasons why is, as you mentioned, you've been in London, you've been in Germany, you've been in Hong Kong, you've been in New York, you've been in Boston, you've been in Florida. I probably missed 5 places that you've been. Flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
You are willing to be flexible about things. And I think as a reseller, you also need to be flexible about things. I don't sell glassware. I just don't. But that's not a 100% rule. A deal of a lifetime comes along. And this is the example I use all the time. I go to Madison Bachville, and the gentleman that sits up there and sells Fiesta ware just hit the lottery. And I happen to be the person walking by at that moment. He looks at me and goes, "Buddy, you have $1? This stuff's all yours." I'm selling glassware, even though I have no desire at all to do so. And the other thing that I thought you were going to say is networking.
Absolutely.
Because networking is extremely important in reselling. At this point, most of my success in reselling, and Mr-Magazines as well, comes from networking. It's calls from people that have dealt with me before. It's calls from people who have dealt with people that have dealt with me before, and so on. And I know certainly within your job, did you mention what industry you work in?
No, I did not. I'm in reinsurance.
Okay. So we can call it the insurance industry. Your industry, unless you're a backroom actuary, probably a fair amount of success in that industry comes from networking.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head. If I was to have a whole list of things that have helped me in my career, definitely networking and flexibility have been up there. And I guess I took your answer to be more of an internal question.
No, that was fine. And that's why one of the reasons why the show works is because we don't prompt anything. You came up with a whole different answer than I expected. Now, if I said to you, and you're going, you're reading it like you're like you're an American in Vietnam. Flexibility is the most important thing, as you're blinking 5 times to be rescued.
Speaking of blinking, would you mind if I take these off?
Wait, what off?
These glasses.
You're wearing glasses?
Oh, you didn't even notice.
I've never seen you not like that before. Oh my goodness gracious! Go ahead. Oh my God,
this little thing is tickling my own other mustache. So
this is a great reveal. Oh my God, I've never seen you like that before. You're not so mysterious after all, are you?
No, never was.
So you've been on the periphery, I'm going to say, of the reselling business for a long time through friendship with me and then later friendship with Mr. Magazine. What is well, first, I think that you probably really, good morning, Fossil Forward Finds. Welcome in. Oh, oof. They do sell generators, just offering that. Make sure that you hit the like button before you leave. Not that I don't worry about where you are. And do check Fossil Forward Finds out as well. He's got a wonderful, wonderful YouTube channel over there. And once he hits 100 subscribers, we have offered to have him on our show as well. He's begging to keep it at 99. I don't understand why.
Do you record these anyway?
Yeah, this is recorded. Yeah,
okay, so
right over. Yeah, oh yeah, people can. Yeah, you can resume where you left off. But you were, I believe you were a history major, if I remember.
I was, yes. I laugh because most people probably said, "What are you doing that for?" So, yeah.
Well, but I can see you coming from a history major background, absolutely loving the reselling business overall. Just, or maybe not if loving it, because you may not like the clutter, you may not like, at least appreciating the reselling business and the history. And any number of times I've showed you things. I mean, even you're walking around the mansion over here, acting as though you're in a museum.
Yes. Oh my gosh. From your artwork, sculptures. Yeah. Even the books. I mean, some of the books, the pictures, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Like, to me, it's almost like a mini museum. Forget the mansion, go with museum.
Yeah, yeah. And we will be charging you the normal admission charge as of tomorrow. So just to let you know.
God, buying lunch and dinner doesn't count.
I'm a big star. I would expect no less. Well, trust me, you'll be buying Mr. Magazine lunch and dinner tonight, and just at one meal.
That's true.
And he's bringing people along too. We actually did have a little Japanese whiskey before this, because there's nothing like day drinking to start the day off right.
Especially on a Friday.
That is true too. So I did send you a link yesterday, and you did save it in your phone, as I recall.
Yes.
We may be seeing Mysterious Benefactor again over at the Ephemera Fair. He's been down in the Connecticut area, is familiar with that area as well. So we'll be seeing him there. And I don't know if he will be joining me over at the Boston Book Fair or Boston Shadow Book Fair, but should be a lot of fun over there also.
Both are equally accessible. So I do love Boston as well as Connecticut. So that's good. Yes, absolutely.
And I do remember, and you may not remember this, but situation where we went to the National Baseball Card Show or Sports Card Show over in Baltimore, the Inner Harbor, and we went over to the Baltimore show.
I do remember that. Yes.
And we went through there, and there was one dealer there that had historical documents. And you ended up spending $1,500, $1,800, something like that on a historical document from the 1700s, Revolutionary War era, as I recall. And it's probably sitting in a box that you have somewhere, and you don't even know that you have it.
I have forgotten that. Yes. And I just said yes. I was just going through a bunch of boxes this past weekend, and I was like, wow, this is great. This is great. So, yes, it's terrible.
Well, at your age. But no, you can definitely appreciate the history in it overall. Now, from looking at Mr. Magazine and the way he does things and the way I do things, I'm a one-man band, obviously, and then he's got the 15 employees. What are your overall thoughts, just coming in as an outsider of us, the industry overall?
I think what's interesting is, I will say this: I couldn't do your jobs. I think your jobs are a commitment. I see the benefits from it, but it's a commitment that I probably couldn't do on a daily basis.
Okay.
It is the hustle, the grind. It is going through lots of articles.
You didn't break probation, did you, being here?
No.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure they weren't coming for you.
Lots of stuff. No. So I
that would explain the mask.
Yes, exactly. But it's probably the margins. I think some of the margins that I hear you're getting is great. And now you put the time, the effort, you deserve those margins. But it's a commitment of time that I probably can't allocate. Which
is interesting, because you put insane hours in, especially when you were younger. You did put insane hours in, and I may be overstating this. This may not have ever happened, but you're set to fly out on a Monday to Zurich, and your boss contacts you Saturday and says, change in plans. You're not going to Zurich till Tuesday. You need to leave tomorrow and be in Iceland. Then you're in Zurich on Tuesday through the end of the week. And hopefully you don't have any weekend plans because we need you over in Singapore for the weekend. And at the last minute, you get those changes, which are a lot of
divorced.
But that's a lot of commitment as well, but it's a different sort of commitment. I guess the advantage that I see to the reselling is the fact that if I want to take today off, I can do so. We don't answer to anybody per se within reason. Obviously, I can't take a month off and not ship things out for a month. I would be in big trouble for that. But if I wanted to take a given day off or I felt under the weather, there's never anything that I can't reschedule per se. So that would be the counter argument I would make to you. But it's a different kind of busy.
No, absolutely. I mean, probably my time is spent prepping for the next meeting, largely sitting there. And you're right. I spend too much time probably in airplanes and airports. As a lot of these, it's a sales, just like you have. I would take it a position. But since I guess the numbers are, I guess in seven figures and up, people want to see you in person. Zoom calls only go so far, and we didn't have those back in when we were doing this. And I also remember the 5 days a week going into the office.
Oh, welcome, AJ. Good to have you in.
So
hola.
Now the
mis hábitos de pescado están en la cocina. Go ahead.
Did you say your fishing poles are in the kitchen?
Indeed, I did. They were already been seen when you came in.
Fly fishing is a wonderful.
They were behind a whole bunch of boxes of books. You would think you would have seen them.
So yeah, no, it's definitely been it's been a whirlwind for sure. But time is I guess my allocation for you would be not only you're getting this you have to go out and secure the documents. You have to get them, research them, make sure you put the best foot forward on everything. Transactionally, your count is infinitely more than mine.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. And it's interesting that you don't feel that you could do it. Is it the grind part of it? Is it the fact that while you were having your little nappy poo this morning, I was climbing up and down the basement stairs, finding stuff, packing stuff, prepping stuff to list, and et cetera, while you were over being a slumberjack. Is that what it is? But again, that's also my choice. I could have slept in as long as you. Well, God forbid, I never sleep in that late. But I could have slept as late as you did.
It's to 6 a.m., folks.
Oh my goodness!
It wasn't like I was
slept a day away.
Unbelievable.
But today is a light day for me over here because we're going to be doing, we're going to be picking up Mrs. Papergoy and we're going to be doing lunch afterwards and everything like that. So today is purposely a light day for me. And I can set my days up like that as well. Whereas you tend to have, I believe, more external, like you were telling me beforehand, and I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school, that at some point in the near future, you have a presentation you need to give.
Yes, next week.
And let's say it's next Tuesday at 10 a.m. You are giving that presentation next Tuesday at 10 a.m., barring some crazy thing happening.
Yes. You
can't just say, I'm going to give it at 11:30 Monday night. You do not have that option.
No, because, and very often these presentations want a preview of what you're going to send. Ideas of what I view the market, I'm going to use that term, as going. They might not like what I have to hear. So, but
or what you say, what you have to say, right? So, that's kind of interesting as well. I've actually got a little swag bag for you, believe it or not.
What? Swag.
Yeah, a little swag.
You're kidding me? I love that stuff. You know that.
So, Mrs. Papergoy said, just fill up your car when you're not looking with boxes of stuff.
I think she did say that. She said, if you can clean out the basement too, that would be helpful.
Garage, basement. So, unbeknownst to Mysterious Benefactor, we've hooked a trailer up to his car.
That is so funny.
So we've got a few little swag bag things for you over here, and you would probably appreciate this from Royal Insurance.
Oh my God!
Which was
started my career.
And from 1981, a nice little Royal Insurance thing over there.
Oh, a fine British institution. What do we got here?
Welcome, Lag. Good to have you in today.
Crown and shield. I love
little map and all that.
Thank you.
But that's not all. We also are going to give him, because at one point or other, he lived down in Greenwich Village. So a
That's
nice
good.
Greenwich Village.
Thank you.
Wait till you get the year's supply of rice-a-roni to San Francisco treat.
I love it. I love it.
I've watched far too many game shows during the day.
That is funny. Yes.
And the final piece that I got over here, you usually are not nearly as casually dressed as you are right now.
This is true.
Mysterious Benefactor. So I believe you probably in your lifetime have used cufflinks.
All the time. Yes.
So I have a nice pair of cufflinks for you right over here. So
What
you're
are
going to
they
hold them
gonna
up and show them up
say?
and tell people what I've given you.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna make me take my glasses off. Let's see. What is this saying? Oh my god, the presidential inauguration?
From
What is this?
From the 1972 Richard Nixon presidential inauguration. I picked up a whole bunch of stuff from Richard Nixon's inauguration from
Tricky
72.
Dick.
So you will be wearing
I
that.
love it.
So when you give your presentation, make sure you walk in and the first thing you say is, I am not a crook wearing these. And they will absolutely love you.
Disarm them immediately, right? There we go. Thank you. I will wear them next week to Atlanta for sure. Absolutely.
Cufflinks are the best. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Much
You're welcome.
appreciated.
I'll put that over here for you so you don't have
Thank
to hold
you
it on
so
your-
much. All right.
So yeah, I figured you would enjoy that stuff
And I
over
got
there.
some plane reading too with the Greenwich Village.
Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
So you probably don't remember this, and we actually talked over breakfast. Cufflinks are the best. There you go. Whoop.
And leg.
Go down to random neighborhood kid. Welcome in. Oh, thank you. Aren't you supposed to be at work? Sneaking out of work in order to watch us. God, I absolutely love that. That's dedication to the channel. Definitely do appreciate that. And when your boss comes by, have him bring it up on his own phone so it helps the numbers. If you don't mind, just really appreciate that. You probably don't remember this from back at college, but you said something. And I asked you over breakfast to see if you remembered this or not. I did things like typed papers and we'll nicely say edited papers for people, things like that. And you said, I believe it was from the movie Officer and a Gentleman, as I recall. And you said that I absolutely reminded you of the one character in there that I would always be hustling and I would always be, shining shoes and selling the shine shoes to people, or I would be doing
Gere character?
whatever. I didn't see the movie. You know what it told me, but that I would be the guy that would have the locker full of stuff with all the work already done, and I would sell it to you to make the money off of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you remember telling me that or not.
No, I do not, but I still would believe you've lived up to that. Absolutely. There has never been a doubt in my mind that if there was someone to be out there doing whatever it took to make the extra buck, you'd be the guy.
And to be honest with you, I wish I had understood that better when I was that age. I guess I just kind of thought that's how everybody was. Although I suppose the fact that I was making bank off other people doing work for them, that I should have figured out that maybe everybody's not like that. But that really, I think, is what it comes down to being a success in the reselling business. Because another mutual friend of ours, Bagpipes, tried selling life insurance for a while. And I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school, given that he's not doing it any longer. He was not tremendously successful at it. And the problem that he always had with it was you get up in the morning, you try to make sales, you don't make any sales, you try it the second day. By the third day, you're saying, why am I doing this? Why am I getting out of bed? What am I doing this for? And you just don't go through with it, because why bother if I spend 8 hours trying to make sales or I spend 8 hours not trying to make sales? I'm still going to make no sales. Yeah. So it's almost self-fulfilling prophecy in the negativity. Yeah. And reselling, I think you could fall into that trap very, very easily as well. Because you don't have anyone to answer to. You don't have a boss. You definitely have to be a self-starter. You definitely have to be very, very motivated by it. And I worked 33 and a half years for the state. You did always have, and we'll leave state management out of it. State management was its own bear. But you always had somebody looking at what you were doing. Somebody always, and the state, I'll be honest, the state was very negative. They managed very, very negatively. They always found the one thing that you weren't quite up to snuff at. So you could be above on 9 out of 10 metrics, and that one that you're half a point below, that's what they talk to you about. as opposed to, hey, you did a good job, blah, 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 let's work on this. No. They came at a very because it was old school management. It was just the way that it was. You don't have that when you are working for yourself. You are your own boss. You are your own for all the good and all the bad. And if you're not a self-starter, I don't have to do anything today because there's nobody telling me that I have to do it today. And some people need somebody driving them because they're not self-driven.
Yes, I can believe that. In fact, you have to go out and hunt down your next meal. Essentially, you have to be on the lookout. I'm sure you have routines, and those probably help. But if you're not constantly on the hustle, I think we just put that yesterday down for someone about to graduate high school. Advice. And I said, life's just a hustle and grind. If you don't,
yes, absolutely, you did. Yeah, we went to Mr-Magazine's son's graduation party yesterday. That is absolutely what you wrote down.
That's it. If you find out that if you hustle and grind daily, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You will achieve great things, and you have to persevere. But you will have your setbacks. You won't make sales.
And Mysterious Benefactor makes a great point right there. You don't have to be the smartest person in a room to be successful. And he is living proof of that. I can absolutely attest. I will swear under oath that is 100% true.
That is so true. I have known the $1 million peddler for a very long time. And I've always said he was smarter than me for sure. Look, he takes my money, doesn't he? So there you go.
I mean, I think it was this morning over breakfast. I believe he looked at me and said, "I'm trying to think, but nothing happens." And I said, "I can understand. I can understand where that comes from."
Call that, but maybe my memory's fading.
Of course you know. You're not very bright. I think we just established that, didn't we?
Absolutely.
But now, how about when you take a look at Mr. Magazine? I will say this: it is absolutely phenomenal what Mr. Magazine has built. Absolutely, he has. I was going to say no college. That's not 100% true. I don't remember the amount of college he has. I believe he took one accounting class for about 2 weeks and quit it when he was falling asleep at the traffic light on the way home from class because he was so tired. So essentially no college as far as that goes. Yet he's done tremendous things with his business. And I think that goes to show, and this is no slight to Mr. Magazine, do not take it that way. But I think that shows that anybody can do it. And again, that sounds negative, but it's not meant as negative. What has he done? He's worked hard. He's got a set of cojones on him that I do not have, but he's also worked very, very hard. He's gotten to where he is because of networking on other things. You've helped him out considerably along the way. I've helped him out considerably along the way. I don't think he would argue that point whatsoever, but he's got 15 employees and he's come a long way. You were just mentioning this morning, without getting too deep into details, that what you would like to do in your later years, which I can't imagine going to be much later, nothing personal. Make sure you go to your doctor and get those physicals. That you would like to have a non-management type position. And one of the reasons why is the stress of managing people. And he has come a long way in the management. But from you managing people, what would you say are the most difficult things in managing people? And let me tell you what I think his biggest thing is that he had to learn. Okay. And I've had to stress this to him many, many times. And it may be a little differently for you because you don't own the company that you work for. But what I've tried to explain to him is everything that he does is more important to him than it is to his employees, because he's more invested in it than his employees are. His employees are there for a paycheck. Not that they don't care, not that, but ultimately they're there for a paycheck. They don't care as much overall. What do you see working with the various, having employees, it would be the most difficult thing?
For me, actually, I think it's the generational changes. As I've got, people 35 plus years in the business, teens, and then of course just coming in. And even within those generational businesses, their approach to just life in general, like the older folks, very dedicated, get up in the morning, had that work routine. I would say somewhere along the way, the middle of the road, are now going through their life's changes. They're suddenly finding time that they need to spend with family. They're looking at the time that family balance importance. And then the new kids, just getting them motivated, period. I'll tell you, I'm becoming that old guy, get off my lawn. I weep for the next generation, but they are special, and getting them motivated. And I mean, they never went to an office 5 days a week. So to them, 3 days a week, or this hybrid schedule that a lot of companies have adopted since COVID, is like the most they want to do. And to me, that's crazy, because as a young person, I'd want to get as much knowledge and tap into those older resources as much as I could. But their world's a different place. They think they can get everything they need on the internet versus actually living life, which is, I think it's a big mistake.
Oh, and Schmidt Auctions, welcome in. Respecting their autonomy while still getting what you need out of the relationship.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah.
I will say, in their defense, when I first got hired, I went to the office once a year, and it was awesome. And I think that really did help me a lot, because I'm going to relate a story that I've never told before, and you're going to appreciate this. So I worked in workers' comp, and there was a situation where I had to do an audit on a not-for-profit, and they had done their paperwork XYZ way. And I was, still wet behind the ears. I'd worked, a year and a half, and I'd never seen a situation like this before. I don't know what to do. So I called the office and I said, hey, I'm out here and I'm at this company, blah, blah, blah. And they did blah, 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 blah. And I get the answer back, well, they're not supposed to do that. And I said, yes, I'm aware of that. I have told them they're not going to do it that way in the future, but they did blah, 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 blah. They're not supposed to do that. I understand. They did it. What do I do what do I do on this audit for this situation? They're not supposed to do that. Thank you. You've been a very big help. I'll handle that. Thank you. And I hung up the phone, and that was the moment when I said, I am on my own out here. I am not getting support from the office. I am on my own. And that was actually, given the fact that I remember that from 30 plus years ago, that actually
Sounds like it was life-changing. I don't think you'd get that from my unit. There would be support. You would get advice. You would not be thrown to the wolves. Welcome to the state.
Exactly. Does not compute. So I at that point I had autonomy, and I'll be honest, I think that helped me considerably with the reselling and all that stuff as well, because I had so much autonomy with my job. I was still required, obviously, to follow the law, to do the best job I could, to make decisions on the fly, yada, yada, yada. But I also, just because of that, I knew I didn't have somebody looking over my shoulder all the time. And I think that that's kind of important as well. And I think that that's one thing that Mr. Magazine has slowly learned is you can't micromanage.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he has. Especially, I mean, he's grown his business. It's amazing. The warehouse, it was just a small storefront when I first met him. And what he has now is well beyond any, I'm sure, his own expectations, frankly. I don't think he would disagree with that. But, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Maybe he always knew he'd be as successful as he's become. So good.
No, I don't think he has. No. I'm not trying to put him down. I don't think so. I think I don't think he had it planned out to grow the way that he's growing.
Right.
Is what it comes down to. And I think that that's one thing that you've seen in the corporate world. You can't predict the future. You can make, as the old saying goes, life is what happens while you're making plans. And I think that happened to him. I think that happens in the corporate world. It's definitely happened to me. And I think that if you're out there reselling, I think that it happens to you as well. I could make every plan in the world that in 2026, I am not going to buy anything, and I am going to focus on getting the basement all listed. Mm-hmm. And January 2nd, I get a phone call from one of my contacts that says, you need to come by. I have the deal for you. And I come by, and he's got $50,000 worth of stuff for $1,000.
Done.
I have to buy it. I literally have to buy it.
it.
Despite the fact that it didn't fit into my plans.
Mhm.
And we talk about all this time going to the various shows and the like.
Yeah.
You can't unless you have a situation where you're going to meet a known dealer who you know has stuff put aside for you. That being the exception, you can't go into a show with the expectation I am only going to buy this type of thing and not other types of things.
Yeah.
You just cannot do so because you have to be very, very flexible. And I might in my head say, I am never buying another comic book again because, and then I walk in and somebody's got a pile of Golden Age comics at some flea market. And I go, how much are the comics? Pick an old box for $10. I'm buying comics. I just am. That's what it comes down to. I simply am. And so you need to be extremely flexible, probably more so than you need to be in the corporate world, I would say, because you've got a lot more structure, I would say, in the corporate world than we do.
Yes, they're not going to be allowing me to have that chance. I can't switch.
You can't suddenly sell. I would just say you can't suddenly sell me auto coverage if you aren't an auto carrier.
No.
Between government regulations, between your corporate regulations, between, and it's also different lines of expertise. And you may look and you go, well, I know if I can sell Papergoy auto and I'm charging them $125,000 a year, I'm going to make a lot of money for the company. Yeah, absolutely you will, but I'm not paying you $125,000 a year for it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you come at it from the reselling, you can pick up $50,000 worth of stuff for $1,000.
I'm curious, when you walk into a show, like
flea market or show, and I'm only asking.
A flea market.
Okay.
Say,
yep.
You have $50 in your pocket, or I'm sure you carry a lot.
I was going to say, no, I carry $1 in case somebody's going to roll me.
Exactly.
No, I carry $1.
But you only have, that's where I was getting to the capital. Do you see a good deal immediately jump on it? Or do you wait and say, I'll come back to that guy or gal later on?
Okay.
I'm just curious because you only have so much. When you start, it's even less. But you're to a point where, okay, you can find an ATM maybe and go back to the show. But I'm just curious. What thought process?
And I'd like you to meet my friend ATM.
No. But
it depends. If I'm walking through the show and it is low capital investment, you've got stuff on the table and I look at it and I go, how much are the books? And you go, they're $1 a piece. And I see $100 book, I'm buying it, period, end of story. I'm buying it because it's $1 out of my pocket. I can get $100 back for it. Mm-hmm. If later on I find a really, really good deal at your table, I'm not going to lose it over $1. It's just not going to happen. If you're at $100 firm and I'm like, I literally have $99 in my pocket, let's make this happen. You're going to sell it to me for $99. Mm-hmm. So that $1 doesn't hurt my overall thing. Mm-hmm. So if it's a crazy good deal like that, I do it. Mm-hmm. If it's a volume deal, I tend to come back, be one of those, I'm kind of interested in these. What do you want on them all? And if it's a volume deal and it's $100, I'm buying it. But if you're like, I need $850 and I'm looking at it going, that's a pretty good deal, but I don't want to spend all $850 right now because you're only the third table that I've been at.
Right.
At that point, I'll say, I'm very interested. And here's a little advice to anybody out there. I'm very interested. I will take it all unless I find other big deals. I will come back, sell what you can in the meantime at retail. Mm-hmm. Because then you come back and you say, what'd you end up selling? People tend to be honest. I sold like 5 of them. Well, that's cool. That's cool. What were we talking about for all of them? Well, in their head, they just picked up $250 that they weren't expecting to get. So now the $850 price, $700 for all of it because I'm making extra money. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, you're like, you sold 5 items out of 100. I'm not going to notice that. So sounds good to me. Yeah. So that would be how I would end up handling it. Is now obviously an absolute killer. I can
tell the other 95 are lying around. Mrs. Papergoy complains about that, right?
She loves it. She loves it. It's like foreplay. It's a family show. We'll end it right over there. No, she probably does not love it, but
no. But I was just curious because
I mean, it's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be as I probably would jump on I would wait a while. I probably wouldn't jump on that first deal. I'd probably look around and probably maybe miss the first. I don't know.
Right. Unless it's an unbelievable deal. I walk in and you've got a pile of Golden Age comic books sitting on your table that I know is a $10,000 worth of stuff. And you go, $500, get them out of here. I'm buying those. And I don't care if I can't buy anything else, because the odds of me getting a better deal than that, even if I have $500 in my pocket, the odds of me getting a better deal than that are pretty slim.
I don't mean to take over your show here, but then the other thought I had is opportunity cost. You just spent the time. Let's say you go to a show. You just drove an hour and a half to get there.
Yep.
And you didn't see anything that just leapt off the pages. Do you feel compelled to buy something, or do you sit it out and drive home empty-handed?
It's funny you asked that. You sit it out and drive home empty-handed. And the reason why a lot of people don't do that, and that is a rookie mistake, especially at auctions. I have been to live auctions before. Prices are going high, and people end up feeding into the frenzy and paying more than they should for stuff, to the point that they're really not making anything, because their thought is, I've got an hour and a half each way, so I got 3 hours in, plus I've been at the auction for 3 hours. I haven't won anything. Well, okay, you've invested 6 hours. Are you going to spend $100 to make $20 off of the stuff that you buy? In the meantime, that stuff that you bought that you're going to end up making $20.
If you make that, right?
Yep. You got to sit on it with your time, the money, time value of money. And it's a little different story if you have no backstock whatsoever. But assuming, I don't know if you've noticed or not, I've got I think 7 unlisted items in the house, maybe 10. I don't know if you've noticed.
No.
I hide them well.
I like walking around your museum.
I hide them well.
Yeah.
But if you have other things to list as well, why are you investing that $100 to make $20 off of it? Sure, you've spent 6 hours.
Yeah.
So be it. You take the mileage off your taxes and you lick your chops and you say, tomorrow's going to be a better day. Ditto if you go to a flea market, like I'm probably going to a flea market Sunday morning. Now it's only a 4 mile drive each way. If it's raining, if it's raining heavy, I won't go. But if it's not raining, I've gone to that flea market before and bought nothing. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy going down. It's a little bit of a morning off. I talk to my friends when I'm down there, and so on. But I don't feel like friends? I know that was kind of trying to sneak that in. But yeah, like I said, that is an absolute rookie mistake. Just buying something for the sake of it. The only exception I might make with that would be if you're at an estate sale or an auction and you can get something cheap, $1 at an estate sale. Why? For the receipt. Because you're taking the mileage off. And yes, if I went to 15 auctions in a row and didn't buy anything, this is not tax advice. Check with your accountant.
I was going to say,
but
now we're going down a different path.
but you are allowed, of course, to take the mileage to the auction, because you were going to buy in your business. You didn't buy anything, didn't work out. Yeah. But if you go to 15 straight auctions, maybe you should buy something at 1 or 2 of them. So that way you got some receipts that I'm actually trying to work the business.
If you bought a cheeseburger there, would that count?
Are you going to resell it?
No. Well, we're not going to go there.
Unless it's one of those old McDonald's ones that you leave sitting around for 40 years. And it's then
saw that on something.
Yeah, probably on YouTube. So there are a lot of idiots on YouTube. Anywho, so overall, though, with all of the things that you've seen, all of the history that you've seen and all of that, I guess, what are your overall thoughts on the business and the things that are out there? Are you amazed by the things that are found and all that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy I enjoy going with you, as you know, just to walk through these estate sales to see what one person, like your estate sale will be amazing, by the way. Well, one person has accumulated, or usually it's by interest. What I've noticed is a lot of times people are focused on certain things. And if you have that similar interest or fascination, it could be a find of a lifetime. Just the same, some of these estate sales are quite big and they are just amazing to see. So I'm impressed with what I see. But no, yeah, I am amazed. Who knew what you'd find in any of these gifts? And also, one person's treasure is another person's trash. That adage.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that I'm walking by things and you're like, look at this. This is great value. And so we agree to disagree, but I like that.
Well, you have not mentioned yet the last estate. Well, first off, we will be going to an estate sale Saturday morning. I don't know which one yet, but we're going to be doing breakfast or lunch and going to an estate sale in the meantime. So you'll get another wonderful opportunity to check out an estate sale. You've not mentioned the last estate sale that we went to, which I probably shouldn't bring this up because then you're going to think that I owe you. Do you remember the last estate sale we went to?
We did. I carried out a lot of heavy books.
Oh, you do remember
yes.
that?
Yes, I do.
Those are still sitting in a basement, by the way.
Gotcha.
I had gone to an estate sale, and the guy had bound volumes of magazines, but I don't even remember which magazines these were. These were the old newsprint style magazines. They were this big,
massive books.
Yes. I ended up buying all of them. It was if I remember right, if it was 0 degrees, I think I'm probably overstating it. It was windy and 0 degrees. And I bought 6 to 8 of these gigantic books. And I said, I can't carry these all myself. If I could just find some nice gentleman who was willing to help me. So then I stuck you. And of course, I probably couldn't find my keys. And you probably stayed at the
parking spot was down the block.
Well, that wasn't intentional. There was a ton of traffic that day. Oh, and then the sidewalks were all icy.
Yes, it was bad.
So we were walking out there in the freezing cold, carrying,
I even think
50 pounds worth of books
in the house, because I think the person that passed was cold too. They weren't keeping the heat on them there, minimum in there. So you just got refuge from the wind, and that was it.
Oh, and the books were up in the attic too, so I had you carry them down from the attic for me because I had to work the deal.
I do remember that. I do remember that. That's funny. Yeah, I actually do remember that one.
Well, and then the other thing that I did tell Mysterious Benefactor this morning, and he absolutely does see where it happens. Ever since I retired, I have lost weight, no doubt at all about it. And it almost is, you stay in shape carrying the boxes. You absolutely do, no doubt all about it.
Carrying those out, I think I didn't have I was coming out of my my slumber while you were doing that.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't offer to help, so
I didn't even have my shoes.
I won't take the usual 10% off the overnight rental charge.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
But no, it is fascinating, all the things you find in there. And I think the other most interesting thing about
we saw that asbestos gum.
What now?
That there was like an asbestos glue or something like that I said you should take that and sue somebody.
No.
It was just being an insurance. The fact that you see anything with asbestos nowadays is alone a gold mine for a plaintiff's attorney. Sorry if there are any plaintiff's attorneys out there, but you guys do really rake in the dough. Yeah,
they do good work. They do good work. I don't want to get sued. You do wonderful work, and there is no mob. I just wanted that on the record.
I can't wait till they dig up the Meadowlands again.
But the other most interesting thing about going to estate sales, I think that you see is it may be a little different here because I'm a reseller, but you go into most people's houses, it is a time capsule on their lives. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting to see, and you see they've got, God forbid they passed, and they got 45 books about living with cancer, diet free. Okay, I'm suspecting they or someone they knew had cancer. Mm. You get in there and you see the Alcoholics Anonymous books and this and that. They had an issue, or whatever the case happens to be. You see 45 books on horse racing. You say, okay, they like going to the track.
Well, they had a gambling problem.
They like going to the track. Yes.
Yes, I love going to the track. And that's where you let a race go. There's nothing to bet here. No chance to win. I'm going to let that one go. But yes. Yeah. No, you're right. I also think, to me too, is the all walks of life that are showing up at these estate sales.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting neighbors to people like yourself that might have traveled an hour to see what's on sale. But yeah, and there's children, clothing. The clothing always gets me. I especially if I see old ties or bow ties. I mean, they're perfect, right?
Or old cufflinks with Richard Nixon on them.
I love that, by the way. I do. I'm wearing them next week in Atlanta. But yeah, no, that to me is another thing too, is the clothing that they were wearing. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, that's the other. And thank you.
Morbid, by the way.
No, that is the other interesting thing too, is you see so many different houses, you see so many different setups of houses. And I know that, and I don't believe I'm telling any tales out of school here. And if your boss is watching this, he's probably a little late in his career to change. But I believe that at some point you have told me in confidence, which I am now going to blab out to the world, that if you weren't in the industry you're in, you would love, your passion would have been architecture.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can see the various houses, you can see the, just, there are times where you get into stately mansions in town type deal, and you can just love the architecture of the neighborhood, love the architecture of the house and all that. And you definitely do get a greater appreciation being a reseller of all of these things. Yes, we're looking at the dollars and cents. We have to be. That's what feeds our family. But you also do appreciate you're holding history in your hand. And I've told Mr. Magazine this, and I've told you this here on the show as well. The one item that I sold that I wish I had not sold, although it would just be sitting in a box somewhere and I wouldn't even know it, was I went to an auction, and I don't remember how much I spent. I spent some money on it, $500, $600, something like that. And it was a Bible in the Lakota language from a missionary. And I ended up selling it for like $800, $850. I made $150 on it, something rather like that. Yeah, I made a little bit of money on it. Yes, absolutely. I wish I had kept that. Just because holding that in your hands, and you're holding a piece of history, and you wonder what that Bible saw.
Oh my goodness, yes, I could see that.
And that is the one thing. Now, one thing you absolutely need to know in this business is you can't keep everything, although I try, and you can't fall in love with everything, because you just absolutely cannot, because there's so much stuff. Let me ask you, coming from the corporate world, you do, you bind policies, you sell policies, you do all that kind of thing. What is your feeling if you lose out on a policy, on an account? What is your feeling in general? Well, just assume, and I'm not saying your book of business is $5 million and it's a $30 million account that you lost. That's a whole different story. Assuming it's not a life-changing kind of account, right? Just a typical type deal. What is your overall feeling when you lose out on something that you kind of wanted?
I think anytime in that situation occurs, we do a post-deal assessment.
Okay.
So
now by we,
myself and my team.
Okay.
I want everyone involved on that deal, both to learn, so we don't, maybe we were snookered, maybe we were used for someone else the whole time.
Leverage.
Yep. Lots of takeaways could be, but I want to know that we all understand what happened, so that we are better prepared for when it happens again, because you will have another big deal coming on your desk. And so we need to be prepared that we don't make the same mistakes. We learn from the past and we moved on. But there's no blame game. I hate blame game, but let's learn from it. So yeah.
Well, and what you just said right there, I think ties into reselling as well. And that is, there will be another big deal. And Mr. Magazine used to, me much less so, but Mr. Magazine used to get upset if he, you can click on that. Yep, there you go. He used to get upset if he missed out on a deal. Oh my gosh, that deal. And I said to them, there's always going to be another deal. And that's absolutely true in reselling. Currently, I have no deal set up that I'm aware of, other than that mystery book house that I'll tell you about that house in a minute over here. I got rid of all my books. I only buy digital books now. They take less room. Yes, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. I still like reading the hard copy. I don't think I've ever read a digital book in my life. Never have.
No,
never have. No interest, but I think it's an age thing more than anything else. I like holding the physical book. So the deal that I was talking about that I have coming up for probably the next 20 weeks is I got into a house of a author who passed with mystery books. And I was saying they had 2,000 books. I probably tremendously undercounted as I look at it. Might be closer to 5,000 to 8,000 books probably. I'm taking 5 boxes a week out of the house. I've got a deal. They're not moving them anywhere else. They don't need the stuff out of the house right away. And I'm going to be doing mystery book auctions over on Whatnot. So I've got an outlet for it, doing them a favor, getting the books out of there. It's really, really neat looking through the history, seeing the various books that he had. Beyond that, I have no other deals lined up. I'm telling you that right now. check in with me in 1 week. I probably will have 4 buys set up, not even intentionally, just having the phone ring. And I think it's the same thing with your industry. I think as well, speaking about the insurance industry, I think from years of doing this, much as years of doing what I do, things run in cycles. And I'm sure you have, when I worked in workers' comp, 9/30, 10/1, end of the year, and April 1st. Those were our busy times for the audit department. They had busy times with the underwriting department. A lot of horse racing policies came in just before the season opened. A lot of people setting up at the New York State Fair needed policies just before the fair started. And you knew that year after year after year after year. You would see a lot of people near the end of the year trying to get quotes because they wanted quotes for next year. Sure. And I'm sure you see the same thing within yours. People shop at different times over there. Oh, and there's somebody trying to deal with me right now, but I put them on a thing. But
well, to your point, I mean, in the old days, we had to keep paper files. And just like LAG said there, a lot of it's digital. We have now abilities to just look back and say, I missed that transaction last year. It'll be coming up for renewal. Let's solicit it. So the new systems and the new capabilities are there, but sure, there's patterns for sure. Oh, I agree.
And I think we see the same thing here in the reselling business. For example, Mysterious Benefactor may be going to the ephemera fair with me.
I'm looking forward to that. I hope I can make that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. And you did block it, or you said you blocked it out in the calendar.
Yeah. But then that last one thing always happens. I hate to. What did you call me that? Say 50-50?
I love it. But when you get down to it, I went to the ephemera fair last year. I know it's happening again this year. I keep a journal or on the computer. I keep various things that happen at the same time every year. I go to church sales. I keep an assessment of what I bought at the church sale, what sells out of it, along with the name of the church. Why? Because they tend to have, third week in July, they always have the church sale. So I check back, I'll check back end of the week. I'll check what church sales did I go to last year, the year before. Let me check to see if they're having it again.
Or do you just?
It's online on a Google document or a Google Sheets. Yep. And so I can always refer back. Now, I don't do that with estate sales because those don't come up at the same time all the time. But I do it with church sales and things like that, library sales. Oh, the third week in August tends to be this library sale. Let me take a look in middle of July so I get it on my calendar. And that is one of the biggest problems. And I think from the sounds of it is one of your biggest problems as well, is sometimes there's too much going on.
And that's really the benefits of a team. I hate to say it. Someone can cover for me. And I have a conflict, right? I love San Diego.
I do know you love San Diego.
Diehard Chargers fan, and I wish they'd go back. They're holding some summer camps there, and maybe I'll go. But so I have an event in San Diego at the same time I have to be in Monterey. They're both in California, but I can't attend both. So I'm sending someone to actually do the San Diego.
Oh,
look, I know. It's the first time for this client in Monterey. I visited those clients in San Diego before, and it's good exposure for a young person too. Right. So, but yeah, you can't be in every place at once, and it's frustrating. Yes. And that's where maybe having a team or some capable person assist you. And I'm not ready to retire, so I can't help you just yet. But is important. I think that's building up some trust in someone else, or having a couple of folks involved in an organization. That's where probably Mr-Magazine helps with having you, or you can cover for him. Yeah.
And I think that is one of the biggest problems Mr-Magazine had having a team, is it took him a long time to trust other people. Mm-hmm. And I think I can understand that. If I were suddenly to hire you, no disrespect to you, I list the way that I list.
Making it rain with your money, baby.
I list the way that I list. I buy what I buy. I suddenly have you list, and then I'm looking at it going, what did you do this? Well, how did you do that? And it's, you got to understand that you're going to do things differently, and you're going to see things differently than I do.
That's a good point. LAG makes on you.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. Yeah. Well, when you're perfect and you have to give it to underlings like you, what do you expect?
Mistakes are going to be made.
They are going to be made, right? And you have to accept that. Yeah. And the other thing too is, I make mistakes, believe it or not. I found one the other day that I didn't find it. One of our viewers did in one of the Bolo videos. An item I had took, I don't know, 12, 13 years to list or to sell. I mean, not to list, 12, 13 years to sell. I spelled the word February wrong in it.
Wow.
So that could have hurt in the search.
Yes.
Could have hurt in the search. You know, and I never even saw it even after I sold it. And then one of the viewers made a joke about it. I go, oh yeah, I did spell that wrong, didn't I? You know, and you never know because you're doing a quick look through your listings. You're not going to necessarily, you know, notice that overall. But yeah, no, we're definitely looking forward to a fun day Saturday, you know, morning. Not expecting to buy anything. I didn't see any estate sales that I absolutely had to run out to, but that's the other great thing about the business is a friend of mine who has since passed, I think put it best. He said anything could be anywhere, and you absolutely never know because you don't know what somebody's collecting passions were. And you can get into some of the best estates in the areas you absolutely would not expect the best estates at. You also can get into some great things, you know, old farmhouses that have been in the same family for 125 years. They got stuff potentially, you know, from the 1800s, 1700s sitting up in the attic. They haven't looked at the box. They've never cleaned the boxes out. They don't care. They've just been up there. Yeah. What do they care? Yep. To them, it's just papers. And I think that you were talking about the generational change. And I don't think that this necessarily is a generational change per se, but I do think that I'll give another example that I've given before. I was out at a house call, and they had a nice, very nice photo album that's still sitting in the garage that I bought 7 years ago, but that's a whole nother story. Very nice photo album. And I pulled it out, and I said, you probably want to keep this. This is a very nice photo album of your deceased loved one. Nah, I know what they look like.
What?
If you want to buy it, put it on your pile.
Really?
I'm like, okay. But I think that the most important thing that you need to do as a reseller is to point those things out, to let them keep their history if they want to do so. This is the family Bible. It's got from, it's an 1885 Bible that they've sat and filled in. So it's got your genealogy back to 1700. I want you to know that this is here. If you want to take it, I don't care. Okay, but I brought it to you. This photo album, I want you to know that it's here because I don't want to take your family. Now, you've got that copy of Wuthering Heights. You don't care. You don't care. Nobody cares. It's sitting on there. You want it gone.
Has anyone ever read that book? I'm sorry. It's probably a great book.
Greatest line from the movie Hot Shots. I just read Great Expectations. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be.
That's a good line.
It's a very good line. But that is also where, as a reseller, you want to preserve the history and you want to provide. Yes, could I sell that photo album for money? Could I sell that Bible for money? Yes, but I could sell the stuff I get in the next deal for money as well. Mm-hmm. The history, them keeping the history is more important to me. And 9 times out of 10, you would be amazed. Same thing with yearbooks. Just wanted you to know these yearbooks are here. You may want to keep them. I don't care. Okay. But I wanted to let you know.
You're going to keep yours, right? Because of me, I'm in it.
I've cut that picture out, and you are actually prominently posted.
What?
You are.
Your that?
Picture right in the middle of the dartboard. So, so I have an incomplete yearbook. So took down on value considerably, but I'll tell you the fun that I had doing that. And I've actually gotten very, very good at bullseyes. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right between the eyes.
It's amazing. No, I definitely do want to thank you for your time over here today. I think we had a lot of fun over here. And I think, again, it is always interesting when somebody from outside gives their opinions and gives their perceptions, because I think so many of us are locked into the business and we have our way of seeing things. It's impossible for me to see it from an outsider's perspective. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. Much as you said that when we go to the estate sale and you walk by something and I'm like, oh, that's a $50 piece. They want $1. I'm going to buy that. Yeah. Much as you didn't know that or didn't necessarily understand that, I can't understand how you didn't know that, if that makes sense.
But yeah, no.
And I think that is one of the fatal flaws that a lot of resellers make is we don't understand. And we mentioned this any number of times on the show before as well, that You go to a sale or you see a sale and you go, I'm not going to go to that sale. It's the second day of the sale. All the good stuff is gone. It's not. If you are in a niche, it is not gone. Because what I know is not what everybody else knows. And a dealer that deals in glassware doesn't care about that pile of sheet music, does not care about it. A lot of paper dealers don't care about sheet music, or there very well could be a very, very good piece of sheet music, but it's at the bottom of the box. And who is going through the entire box of 122 pieces of sheet music to find the one good one at the bottom?
Yeah.
You go near the end of the second day, and that sheet music that was $1 a piece, $25, get it out of here. Nobody has looked at it all weekend. Get it out of here. And then right down near the bottom, you find your $200 piece of sheet music that sat there the entire week because nobody dug their way down through. And you find things like that regularly because you're deep enough into a niche, or you're willing to buy a whole bunch and you learn something or other out of what you bought right over there.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting. And the other positive will be tomorrow when we do go to the estate sale. I've got somebody who's a little pudgy and needs a little bit of exercise that will help carry that gigantic box of sheet music that I buy. In fact, I will try to buy the heaviest things I possibly can. Oh my gosh, I think it just tweaked my knee. So I won't be able to carry things tomorrow, but poor Mrs. Papergoy is going to be struggling carrying these things as you and I both watch her. Can we hurry up? We're wasting gas. Can you hurry up?
It's true.
Sadly, it is. Do hit the like button if you could. Definitely do appreciate y'all coming on out. And we also have a special show coming up tonight at 7:30 p.m. tonight. We're going to be talking about mental health and reselling with the auction professor. So that should be a really, really good show as well. It's not going to be the typical show, not going to be very many laughs in it as far as that goes. But I think it is probably and I'm not overselling this, I think it is probably the most important show that we've ever done. I think that mental health is very, very important. I know that you have people in your life that have struggled with certain mental health issues as well. And I think it'll be very, very interesting show tonight, definitely. Oh, great. Great to hear that. Definitely do appreciate you coming on by. And we will definitely see you tonight at 7:30 p.m. I do want to thank Mysterious Benefactor. And if you could do the channel a favor, Mysterious Benefactor.
What's that?
If you could, very, very important, definitely is. If you could, next week, when you do have the cufflinks on, if you could send us a picture.
I will do that.
We definitely would appreciate that.
Yes.
I would like to see those as well. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next video.
Have a great day.
It's at the end stream. Yep. Perfect.